All right, welcome back to another one of our film reviews. Today we're talking Miami Dolphins rookie defensive lineman Jordan Phillips, and Phillips continues to dominate. A great find for Miami and the future of this Dolphins front. We'll break down everything he did on the Dolphins' most recent victory, as always, in the comment section below. Give us any feedback you might have. If you're a fan of these film reviews and want to help support us so we can do more of them, consider becoming a member of our channel. It's a big help to us. But without further ado, let's jump right into the film. All right, let's get started with some run defense, and there's Jordan Phillips right there on the middle of your screen. He's lined up in what I'm going to call a 2-eye technique. Some people may call that a 1 technique on the outside shoulder of the center right there. But regardless, he's an A-gap player playing in this gap right here. And it's going to be a standard inside zone concept for the New Orleans Saints. They're going to bring a tight end motion pre-snap, and he's going to kick out the in-man on the line of scrimmage over here. And everyone else on the offensive line is going to take their zone track to the right side of your screen, the offensive left. We're going to get a base reach there. Base reach there, double team right here, working up to linebacker, tackle right here, working up to the next level. And the running back, let me clean up the screen for you guys, it's going to take the handoff and try and cut back this way behind the lead block against that in-man on the line of scrimmage. That puts a lot of pressure on Phillips right here at the point of attack. He takes on the guard and wins, comes up with a big play. Let's check it out. There's a motion, there's a snap, there's a handoff, there's Phillips. Nicely done. This is great defense at the point of attack because as you can see the play develops, there it is. There's the crease right down the middle of the Dolphins logo, right? They want to wash everyone to the right side of your screen. They get hats on hats. Tackle goes up to linebacker. Tight end kicks out Chop Robinson, although the tight end misses Chop Robinson, so not great from the Saints' perspective. Good job by 44, laying the block. But you can see the crease, right? You can see the design. Phillips right here does a great job shocking with his hands, playing off the guard, and making the tackle. When you hear the phrase shock and shed, this is what you're talking about. Shock with your hands, now shed the block, and make the play. Notice how he stays in the gap till the last second, right? His gap is between the center and the guard. He stays there, still there, still there, until the running back cuts back right here. That's when he plays off and leaves his gap. You're talking about good, fundamental, sound defense, physical, point of attack, beating blocks, but also maintaining gap integrity. This is exactly what you want to see. Phenomenal job by 94. All right, from the wide copy, you can see Phillips right there in the middle of your screen. He does a great job again. Shock, shed, make the play. Great work. You can see how this play develops for the New Orleans Saints. They got a chance here. They got hats on hats at the next level. They got a kick out block that tied in, missing him right there. But right there, imagine 87 actually blocks Chop Robinson. They're up into the next level. This could have been a successful run for them. But Phillips does a great job. Face mask to face mask there with the right guard, but bench presses him off right there and then sheds him right there and makes a play. Great work. All right, sticking with the running game, there's Jordan Phillips right there, lined up in a 3 technique on the outside shoulder of the Saints right guard. Taysom Hill is in the game. He's their short yardage specialist, jack of all trades kind of player, and it's going to be a quarterback follow. So the running back's going to come in motion here. He's going to fake like he's getting the handoff. He's basically going to lead through the point of attack. They're going to do the same thing with 88 running through here as well, and the quarterback is going to follow him. The key block on the interior is this double team right here between 51 and the Saints right tackle through Phillips working up to the next level. But the rookie does a great job splitting the double team and then making the play at the point of attack. Let's check it out. Running back in motion. There's a snap. There's the fake. There's the follow. Good defense across the board. How about the defensive tackle play right here? Against the center, beats the center. Nicely done right there. But how about Jordan Phillips? Double team, 51 and 75, holds his ground, makes a tackle. Nice work. Now, technically, if we're looking at double team technique, I would love to see Phillips stay a little lower. I love him to dip his knee to the ground. Most of the time they teach defenders when you feel that double team to dip one of your knees to the turf and get as skinny and as thin as you possibly can and try and create a pile. Phillips doesn't do that, so technically that's something for him to improve on. Although I don't know what they taught in terms of game plan and things like that, so I'll throw that caveat in there. This may have been something the Dolphins coming into the game said, listen, don't worry about dipping your knee to the ground, just play off the block and make the tackle. So I'll put that caveat out there. But regardless, this is a really good play by Phillips. Again, splitting the double team and making the tackle. It's what it's all about because you can see once again, this play has a chance. The Saints, they got hats on hats inside. They got a lead blocker in the point of attack. But the D-line, you're talking about Jordan Phillips and number 95, I believe, right there, making plays. The first half of the season, the D-line was getting eviscerated. The second half of the season, they've been playing a lot better. And the youth movement up front, Jordan Phillips, Zeke Biggers, even Kenneth Grant making some plays, has been a big reason why, just like we see right here. All right, from the wide copy, it looks really good. You're going to see the running back go in motion. There's a snap, fake to him. It's just going to be a follow, and it's well defended. Right, you can see Phillips right there in the middle of your screen. Double team right there. I'd love him, assuming he wasn't taught to not do this in terms of a game plan prep, but I'd love him to dip his knee to the ground and play a little skinner, play a little smaller on the double team. But listen, all's well that ends well. He splits the blocks, fights off the double team, and makes a tackle. You know, sometimes it's about making the play. You can have good technique and do a good job, and I'm all for that. but you got to be a productive player. You got to make the plays. Winning games is about making plays, and that's what Phillips does, and that's what he did against the Saints, and that's exactly why the Dolphins are so high on him. All right, staying once again with the run defense, and there's Jordan Phillips right there, line up again in a 3 technique on the outside shoulder of the Saints right guard. What the Saints are going to do here is they're going to double team right here with Phillips up to the backside linebacker. We're going to get a block back here. Guard's going to pull around. They're going to insert number 14, kick out right there, and the running back's going to follow the guard through just like this. That means you can see pretty obviously the key block on the line of scrimmage is this double team. Phillips does a good job holding his ground right here. He does a really good job technique. He bends his knee a little bit like I talked about in the previous play, but then he fights off the double team once again to make the tackle. Love to see it. Let's check it out. There's a snap. There's pulling guard. Handoff. Not much there. Phillips with the tackle. Nice work. All right, let's break down number 94 here. 3 technique. There's a double team. See how his knees dip there a little bit? Better technique. That's what I like to see. Nicely done. Makes me think the previous play was more of a game plan thing, not necessarily, a missed assignment from Phillips. Because here in a more traditional situation with Taysom Hill not in the game, right? They're standing quarterback. He does the knee dip and tries to get skinny in the hole. So I think what we saw in the second play of this film review was probably more of a game plan thing. But regardless, once again, good job fighting through the double team right there, working over the top, not giving up, and being part of the tackle. The effort with number 94 is outstanding. Again, it's the little things that turn seasons around, right? We always talk about, the talent, the big plays, like who can make, the 50-yard touchdowns or the sack fumbles and all of that. But to me, it's about the guys in the middle, the interior, with effort, with nasty football. I mean, this isn't fun. You got a double team inside. You got bodies on bodies, just 700, 800, 900 pounds right there. But can you fight through that trash and make the play and help your defense win? And that's exactly what Phillips does here. Again, gives up no movement, holds his ground. The ball was snapped. He basically took the hash and held his ground right there and then fought through all the blocks to make the tackle. Nice job. All right, for the wide copy, you can see Phillips right there in the middle of your screen. This is nasty football, right? Double team right at him, right at his face, holds his ground, fights, part of the tackle. Again, winning football is about doing the little things, sometimes about doing the ugly things, taking on double teams, right? Absorbing blocks, but not giving up either. It's more than just taking on the double teams and holding your ground, right? Right here, that's good enough. That's okay. But you know how you start winning games and stacking wins? Is after the double team, if you fight through to make the tackle, right? The extra effort. I always say there are 3 parts of the play. There's the surge, there's the counter, and there's the finish. The surge is the first 2 steps. The counter is what happens after that as both players counter to what's going on the field. And then there's the finish. And to me, the finish is the winning part of the play. Can you fight through everything and help your team win? Phillips does that right here. All right, how about a pass rush move? We haven't seen a whole lot of that in this film review, and there's Phillips right there, line up in a 2-eye technique on the inside eye of the Saints right guard. We're going to get some pre-snap motion this way right here and a fake to the running back before the quarterback sets up in the middle of the pocket. But protection-wise, it's going to be pretty standard pass pro from the Saints. The play side, which is going to be these 3 guys on this particular play, they're all going to take the gap to their left. So left tackle is going to take this gap, left guard's taking this gap, and center's taking this gap, which means man-on-man on the backside, man-on-man right here, and man-on-man right here against Phillips. And Phillips in this 2-eye technique situation, he has a 3-way go. He can either attack vertically, he can either go through the guard, or he can go around. And on the snap, he tries to go around like this and does a decent enough job getting a little bit of pocket push, but it's his counter move and his finish to get pressure on the quarterback that I really like. Again, effort off the charts for the rookie. Let's check it out. There's motion. There's a snap. Play action. There's the pressure. Has to hit the check down. Defense rallies. Minimal gain. All right, let's look at Phillips right here, all the way back to the very beginning of the play. All right, there he is. He feels the pass rush right there. He works outside. Right there, he's kind of blocked. You can see he tries to do the rip move working outside. You can see his right arm ripping through. You can see it like an uppercut right there, and it doesn't work. The guard does a good job. But watch Phillips' counter to that. Humps him inside and then makes a play. Really good job. You can see his right arm get under the armpit right there. Look at that. And throws him aside and gets pressure on the quarterback. Forces the check down. Right here, Tyler Shuck, still looking downfield. He feels Phillips, has to throw it short. This is winning football, right? Because the Saints, they got a few playmakers. Olave is a guy who can make some plays down the field. You mitigate that by getting pressure right in the quarterback's face so that way he can feel it. Phillips does that right here. Again, his initial move doesn't win. Right here, the guard is winning. But the counter right there, taking his right arm and readjusting it and putting it under the offensive lineman. I mean, that's a really good shot right there. And then throwing him aside to get pressure on the quarterback. Once again, nice job by Phillips. All right, from the wide copy, we get the pre-snap motion. There's a snap, play action. Feels the pressure, has to hit the check down, rally to the football, good defense. You can see here, there's a chance to maybe force it downfield, right? He's got the tight end leaking out here over the top. Maybe right here he wants to take a shot. He's got 2-on-1 right here. He's got a receiver with a deep out. He's got kind of a corner route right here. Maybe he thinks he can challenge this. Maybe thinks he can challenge the safety, right? Got a chance there. Instead, he has to hit the check down. That's pressure. That's Jordan Phillips. Little things, guys. That's effort. Watch initially, outside move, blocked, takes his right arm, humps the guard aside, pressure in the quarterback's face. Again, not a highlight film kind of play. It's not something that will make the announcers, give them a lot of credit. No one's going to be talking about it on the, Monday or Tuesday shows or anything like that. But it's just good football. And if you stack good plays and good defensive reps, snap after snap after snap, and you do that over the course of the entire game, over weeks, you start stacking wins, you start playing better and better, and that's exactly what Phillips and Miami are doing. All right, let's go back to some run defense, and there's Jordan Phillips right there lined up once again in a two-eye technique on the inside eye of the Saints guard, and it's going to be a standard inside zone concept. We're going to get some pre-snap motion this direction, but really the ball is going to just attack this bubble right here. And what the Saints are trying to do, they're trying to get a base reach here, they're trying to get a double team action here, working up to the next level. Their goal is to have the center reach Phillips, take him over, and have the guard get up here to get basically a seal here, and the running back to hit it, increase it just like this. But Phillips, again, at the point of attack, does a great job fighting off the double team, working down the line of scrimmage, and making the tackle. Let's check it out. There's a motion, there's a snap, there's a handoff, and there's Phillips making the play. You can see the design, right, as the play goes through. Right here, they got the seal, they got the tackle on the right guard. They're trying to cut it up past Jordan Phillips. They're trying to have the center reach him, but Phillips wins the block. You can see the double team, right, gives the center some help right there. The center thinks he may have it, but Phillips keeps working his feet. One of the reasons why you keep your arms extended and why analysts and those scouting guys in the draft love long arms is right here, because you can see 94. See how he's parallel to line of scrimmage too? That is awesome. You always want to be parallel to line of scrimmage. Good work technically there. But his long arms wins the day. You see how he keeps them extended and then fights it off and makes a tackle. A+ run defense. Right here, the Saints are just trying to probe Phillips. They're saying, listen, can you make this play? Because if our center can reach you, then this play is just going to gash you all game long. Because you can see they got the seal here. They got guys up on the backside. It's going to be a big play. They got what looks like maybe holding right there. Yeah, it's kind of close. It's hard to tell. Looks like a tackle. But regardless, at the point of attack, Phillips does a great job. Technique, pad level. See how his head's below this offensive lineman, the Saints center. Good to see that. Good base, parallel to line of scrimmage, long arms, good effort, A+ work across the board. All right, from the wide copy, you can see Phillips right there. There's a motion. You can see that extension, and then fights off the block and makes a tackle. So right here, this is what we're talking about, weight room bench press. Right there, helmet to helmet, the double team action, but he still fights off the double team with the extension. Look how he uses his pad level right here. See how he stays low? He drops his hips on contact. So at the onset, they're face mask to face mask, but when he feels the double team, watch what he does right now. Drops his hips. Good stuff. Good technique. That's a well-coached player right there. Love to see that. Double team, drop your hips, keep the extension, and then make the tackle. Nicely done. I wanted to take a minute today to talk about something that's important to me, and I know it's important to a lot of you guys as well, and that's having a great website or application with all the data you need, whether you're a fan, whether you're creating a YouTube show, whether you're into gambling. Having that website or application with phenomenal data at your fingertips is critical, and that's why we're excited to work with our sponsor today, and that is Outlier. Outlier is a great tool to give you all the numbers you need, whether you're trying to get in on the action or just get a deep dive into the upcoming matchups. So today we're talking Jordan Love right here in front of you. He's got a big game at home against the Minnesota Vikings coming up. So let's filter only on home games right there. Let me double click it. There it is. You can see his home game performance. If I hit reset all, it filters back to his normal last 10 game performance, regardless whether they're home or away. But let's factor in the fact that Tucker Kraft, the tight end, a really good tight end for the Packers, is out for the year. Let's go and select him. Click filter without him, and let's see how he's doing there. Again, 2 games without Tucker Kraft, Philadelphia and at the New York Giants. And if we filter on home games right there, we get just the most recent performance against the Philadelphia Eagles. Outlier has a lot of great tools. I love the filters. They allow you to break down everything, and it's really easy to use. A lot of clicking and just really easy manipulation makes it very simple. Whether you're using their website or their app, highly recommend you use Outlier for the source for all your information. Make sure you use our code SMI7 for a free 7-day trial. There's a link in the description box below. Make sure you check it out today. All right, this next play is something Jordan Phillips needs to work on, and there he is right there, line up in a 3 technique on the outside shoulder of the Saints guard. And it's going to be a play-action pass, and the quarterback's going to set up in the pocket. And it's going to be one-on-one. Right here, the guard's one-on-one on Phillips. Jordan Phillips just gets caught, right? We saw the hump move work before, but it looks kind of an ugly play. This is something I think he really needs to work on, just being more deliberate, more methodical, and use his space more consistently when it comes to the pass rush specifically. Great against the run, but the young defensive lineman needs to step up in the pass rush department on a consistency basis. Let's check it out. There's a snap, play action. Here comes the pressure. Quarterback escapes. So able to hit the check down there. Nice little play. Good job by the Saints quarterback. All right, let's look at Phillips here and break it down all the way back to the very beginning. All right, he kind of gets the offensive guard, and boy, oh boy, look at this guard's technique. That's not a great position to be in. I mean, that sounded great. You see how he crosses his feet right there? You got him beat. It's a bear hug. This is a situation where you should dominate if you're a defensive tackle. But Phillips just gets kind of caught and gets kind of stuck on him. Now, listen, you can make the argument 77's holding him, and I get all of that 100%. But this, as a defensive lineman, you're going to win this rep. You get a one-on-one on a guard, that should be an opportunity in pass rush for you to shine. But to get bullied like this, especially when the guard is caught off balance and with his feet totally out of whack and the guard missed with his hands, I mean, it's not a good rep from 77 at all, and you still lose. I think this goes back to the consistency element from Phillips. We know he can use his hands. We know he can play with good pad level. We know he has, the good hump move like we saw earlier. Now I just want to see the timing of it improve and just be more consistent as a pass rusher. Because as good as he is defending the run, if he can be on a snap-by-snap basis better against the pass, Phillips can become a star up front. All right, from the wide copy, get a really good look at Phillips right there in the middle of the screen. There's the play action. He's just, look at that. Escape. And it's not even really like a belligerent hold or anything like that. That's the problem. Like, it looks so awkward. This guard is so out of whack. His feet are lost. He's falling all over the place, and Phillips just can't take advantage of it. This is something where a good pass rushing defensive tackle needs to win, needs to embarrass this offensive lineman, and Phillips just gets stuck. Now, he has good plays. I'm not saying he's a bad pass rusher. It's just a consistency thing. It's technique. It's going back to old reliable moves. Use your hands right here. Don't miss with your hands. See how he goes outside with his arm too early? You can see Phillips' arm already outside the offensive lineman. Use your hands first. Strike first and then rip. His timing's a little off and it just becomes a funky play, something he needs to improve on going forward. All right, we talked about the little things this entire film review, and I want to end on an example of a little thing. So there's Jordan Phillips right there, lined up in a 3 technique on the outside shoulder of the Saints guard, and it's going to be a toss this direction with a design cutback right up the hash. They're going to bring the tight end in motion pre-snap and have him loop back around. They're going to have the fullback, which is Taysom Hill, come this way as well. But from an offensive lineman's perspective, they're trying to get a movement, everybody this way, get everybody moving this way, get flow this way with these guys leading and get the cutback right behind. That's the goal. And this play has a chance to go right up the hash for the Saints running back, but right here, Phillips does a really good job constricting the hole. He doesn't make the play, but it forces the running back into the Dolphins' help, which they end up making the play. Again, the little things matter. Let's check it out. There's a motion. There's a snap. There's a toss. There's the cutback. A little bit of a gain, nothing special there. All right, guys, I'm going to freeze frame it right there. There's a chance for this to get by, right? You can see they got 95 washed down. Their hats on hats right there. There's a chance they can crease it right there. That's it. Right there off the butt of that Saints offensive lineman. And then it's a huge play. But look at what Phillips does. He constricts the hole, right? Forces the running back to stay really close to that other Saints offensive lineman, allows 95 to be part of the tackle. Then the cavalry arrives. It's the little things, guys. Look at Phillips right here. He's holding his ground. He's just trying to stay in his gap. Good base, parallel, good pad level, A+ run defender. I mean, I watch him play the run, and I'm like, yes, sir, this is how you do it. Good technique. Watch how he uses his left arm to just completely freeze this offensive tackle at the spot. Look at it, base, strong, eyes on the ball carrier. Awesome stuff. A+, A+, A+. Phenomenal work from Phillips here. You see it constricts the hole, forces the running back to keep it wide. Phillips doesn't make the tackle, but he forces the running back into his help. And a play that could have gone for a big gainer is a minimal play. It's the little things, guys. Snap in and snap out. Phillips is becoming an elite run defender. He has his moments in pass rush, needs to be more consistent, but I like the flashes we're seeing from Phillips, even in the pass rush department. And overall, number 94 for Miami is quickly becoming a big-time star for their front.